mixing with our eyes is not necessarily the best way to go, but if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna show you the best way.
You know you got me, girl. I like the way that you move, the way you shake your body, girl. I got a whole lot of plans for you.
Thank you for tuning into my channel, Ericson Presents Mixing Tutorials. This is gonna be our first mixing tutorial. Just so you know, my goal is to always get right to the point. So let's get to the point. Today we're gonna talk about metering. Metering for a brand new, inspiring, future Hall of Famer engineer is probably something that is relied upon a lot more heavily than more experienced engineers. So when I'm talking about metering, what I'm referring to is the level of the lights on each track and how hot they're going or how loud they're going to whatever dB that they're stopping. So if you turn the track up and down, you know, that meter gets taller or it gets shorter. Ideally, it would make perfect sense if you were, say for instance, you were trying to balance your kick and your clap or your snare. It would make perfect sense to get those meters to hit at the same level. Well, just because they're hitting at the same level doesn't necessarily mean that they're at the same level. So this is why experienced engineers are more likely to tell you that you should mix with your ears and not your eyes, because your eyes can deceive you. Your eyes can allow you to think something is right and then trick your ears into believing that it's right. Either way it goes, I'm gonna show you why mixing with our eyes is not necessarily the best way to go, but if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna show you the best way. Okay, so now we're in the DAW right now, Studio One, and I'm gonna prove to you why this isn't accurate. Okay, here we go. So let's pull up the kick. So that kick is right under -6. So you know what, let's get it to -6. So it seemed like it was 2 dBs under. So let's add, or 2/20th of a dB under. So let's try to see if this got us there. And it did. Okay, so this meter is metering at -6. Okay, now let's try to do the same thing with the clap. Okay, so on this meter, technically it's metering at about -6 on the kick and -6 on the clap. So now I'm gonna introduce to you a plugin that I use called T-Rax metering. And just to sum up this plugin, all it does is meter, but I pay attention to nothing on this meter except one thing, one thing. And I'm gonna show you right now. Perceived loudness. That's all I pay attention to. I don't care about any of this stuff, although it's helpful. I don't care about the RMS. I don't care about the spectrum. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is the perceived loudness. The reason why I don't care about all the other stuff is because when I mix, all that stuff gets taken care of. So this is why. So if you're not to the point where you can just confidently say that you mix, you probably want to care about this. So don't think that you shouldn't care about it. But for me personally, I just care about the perceived loudness. So this little green area right here and the red area simply lets me know that if the signal is in the green, I'm loud. If I get into the red on certain peaks, sometimes there's a drop, sometimes there's a loud something, it doesn't matter. If it goes into the red on those loud parts, but it comes back down to the green, I'm good. Like, that's great. If it goes past the red and it lives past the red, then 9 times out of 10, the signal is way too loud. There's been times where I've had clients in here and I've done sessions and I mix quietly. I don't need the music to be cranked at the top of the world to know that it's going to be loud. And I'll mix quiet and then I'll bounce it out. And the client is wondering, is it loud enough? Well, if I see that line in the green, then I already know that it's loud enough. Okay. So, oh yeah, let me, before we go any further. So this has loudness suggestions. So all these genres, I have it on the hip hop. So if I'm doing hip hop, but if I was doing, let's say R&B, I would switch to that, and then that would be considered loud. So you see how the number changes. Let's look at some other ones, pop rock. And then again, you'll see that the green is a lot higher in the spectrum, but that's most likely because pop rock does not necessarily have booming 808s, booming bass, booming kicks like hip hop does. Like it's just 2 different genres, 2 different styles. You have to mix accordingly. So you see how helpful this would be. Okay, so let me switch it back to what I like to use. If you look at this kick where it's metering, let's see where it's hitting on the perceived loudness. So that's a negative 1.9 on the perceived loudness. Now let's see where the clap is hitting. Oh, ho, 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 ho. We got up to negative 24.7. So the signal here, that signal, they're over here, it's the same thing. But over here, that clap is a lot louder. So if you were going to meter, if you were going to look at something and try to get a visual understanding of how loud your sounds are in correlation to each other, that perceived loudness is something that if I were you, I would focus on. Now, if you don't have this plugin, that's fine. Find another plugin that pretty much does the same thing. It's just the perceived loudness is what you're going after. That's my tip for today. If you start doing this, your mixes will start becoming a little more balanced. I won't say it's going to be 100% balanced, but it's a good start. Thank you for tuning in to this tutorial. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button. And if this is helping you out, please hit the thumbs up. I will see you in the next video.
Home tomorrow. You know you got me, girl. Tomorrow, girl. I like the way that you move, the way you shake your body, girl. I got a whole lot of plans.